Playbook, a podcast about selling your services as a freelancer. I'm Pete Beber, the career sales professional. I'm here with my co-host Tyler Poole, our freelancer. Tyler, today I want to get a little uncomfortable for you probably, but this is something that everyone in sales and certainly freelancers would run into. It is about a deal that never materialized, never closed.
Yep.
You okay?
Oh yeah.
All right. So Tyler, you sent me an email chain with a prospective customer prospect. This is a while back, so dig deep. But you sent me an email chain where I think it was part of your cold outreach. Mm-hmm. And they responded. Tell me how they responded to your cold outreach.
Yeah, so the cold outreach was for a particular service of mine, and they came back and asked directly for. They didn't respond with "Hello, this sounds good." They didn't respond with any of that. They said pricing and an example of your work or a case study. I think they asked for a case study.
Yeah, and so how'd you respond?
I gave them pricing and a case study.
Right? Of course. Give them what they ask for.
It's very logical for me. I don't know what the problem is there.
And then what happened?
Crickets.
Crickets.
I never heard from them again.
Never heard them again. This is really common. We want to give our prospects, our customers, what they ask for. But I asked you a bunch of questions after that, right? We jumped on the phone.
Yep.
And so we'll walk through some of that.
Sure.
My first question was, what do you know about their business?
Only what I gathered during my finding their email and looking at their website. Very little.
Okay, so very, very top level.
Very little. Yeah.
What did you know about the person who emailed you?
Absolutely nothing.
And the business problem they're trying to solve?
Absolutely nothing.
Budget?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, so I think we know why we didn't hear back. Right. This is a really common response. I think this isn't the first time you've gotten that question, that request from a customer or a prospect. What I suggested, and you've done since, is to respond with something along the lines of, "Hey, I don't know if my services are going to fit your needs. So I like to jump on a quick call, 15 to 30 minutes, just to understand a little bit more about what you're trying to accomplish to make sure that my services are a good fit."
Yeah. And I will tell aspiring freelancers, newer freelancers, anybody, especially when you're doing cold outreach, this is the number one question you're going to get is what's your pricing? And it's the first thing they're going to ask, and you need to be able to get around it. And if you're not able to get around it, like I send back something like what Pete just said all the time, where I'm like, well, can we jump on a call? Or I need to know a little bit more. My business is custom for each client. Whatever I say, however I word that, I lose a lot of potential people right there. And that's fine. Just make sure you know that that's part of the qualification process.
Yeah, you're probably going to be like, I don't want to hear this, Pete, but competing on pricing is a race to the bottom. When you're trying to win every deal, you want to do what the customer is, you want to give the customer what they're asking, but that's not how you win a deal. How you win a deal is by understanding the business problem that you're solving for your customer, or that they're asking for. And as we've talked about before, if it's not a fit, you got to tell them no. This isn't a fit. But how do you find out if it's a fit? You ask them about their business. Hey, what's prompted you to get X, to search for X services, or to respond to my email?
The questions that you asked.
Right.
Me. Yeah.
Right. And you can do it in specific ways, right? I think it's really good to have a list of questions, and those questions would be, hey, tell me a little bit, I know high level about your business, but tell me a little bit more. Give me 2 minutes on your business. Mm-hmm. And then tell me, what are we trying to solve? What is the reason that you responded to my outreach? Or why you posted, because you'll post on sites too, sure. Right? Or freelancers will post on freelance sites. So why did you put this request for proposals out there? And get to understand it and say, okay, so what would it mean if we could solve this problem for you, right? Yep. Let's say because you do a lot with local SEO. So if somebody comes to you and you start to go through this process, and you say, what is this going to mean for your business if what we're talking about works?
Sure.
It might be, I have X amount more. I'm looking for X amount more people to come through my door. Maybe I'm looking for 50 more people a month to come through my door because I can convert, 1 in 5 to a paying customer. Okay, what is the value of a customer to you? Right? How much does your average customer spend? You want to understand their business, because what happens when you understand how many they close per foot in the door or on their website, in your case, what's the lifetime value of that customer? What is that customer worth? Because now you understand, here's the goal, here's the problem we're trying to solve for. It might be, hey, a competitor moved in and they're ranking higher than me in your world, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what would it mean if you got that higher ranking back? Then you can say, all right, taking a step back, what you're looking to accomplish, this is how I can get you closer to that. Right? Here are my services. We talked previously about selling what's in your bag, about saying no. Here's what I can offer you. And now you know what it's worth. Mm-hmm. Right? So then you can give a price. Or you can ask, what are kind of, when we lay all that out, if we accomplish that, what is that worth to you? So rather than just throwing a price out for a service that you don't know is going to be the right fit for them or not, let's go out and understand their business. So you do that today. Mm-hmm. How has that changed your business?
Well, and going back to what you were saying there before we get to changing my business, I mean, the short answer to changing my business is I close more deals.
Same and the price that you sold before?
It varies. It varies.
So, because I know that some of them have been higher.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, the pricing is more dependent on what industry, and so I have more control over how much I charge because I have more control over who I'm going after. And obviously, to be a plumber is going to have a smaller budget than a top-notch lawyer. It is what it is. But
important to understand your customer's business.
Sure, but you can't charge the same thing to a lawyer you can to a plumber. The competition's different. The factors are different, and you know that. I mean, it makes sense just thinking about the two businesses, but it really makes sense if you talk to those people and you ask them questions about their business. And so something you said when you were talking about asking questions, people aren't just going to open up to you, right? Like most people are going to give you a 2-minute, blip about what their business is. And so one of the most effective things that I've found for opening them up is to mirror them. Pete says, give me a 2-second thing about a plumbing business. Just off the top.
About my business?
Well, all right. So, sorry. Put you on the spot there.
Mirroring?
So,
yeah.
So here, I'll do it and you can mirror me.
Okay.
So, hi, my name's Joe Schmo. My plumbing business is located in downtown Philly. I've been here for 20 years.
20 years?
20 years, yeah. We started, I hated my job at the time. I really wanted to get out of it, and so I started a plumbing business. My dad was a plumber.
Your dad was a plumber?
Yeah. Till the day he died. He retired at 76 and died at 78.
So this is a family business.
It is. I really want it to succeed because of that. It really means a lot to me.
Means a lot to you?
Means a lot, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to carry on their dad's legacy?
Yeah, it sounds like you really care about the business.
You get the point.
Okay.
So
we did a couple of things in there, but the mirroring was just me repeating something. And Tyler's playing along a little bit with 100%. Me, of course. But it's actually incredibly powerful. This is something I learned from Chris Voss. Yep. Great book called Never Split the Difference. Highly recommend it. So we did some labeling and mirroring, which is two things that Chris
we
really
can cover
hammers on.
Labeling in another episode.
But mirroring is showing that you're listening to them. You're repeating either the last 1 to 3 words or a few words from within what they just told you. And it helps people to open up. It says, all right, he's listening to me. I asked it a little bit of an inquisitive tone as opposed to just saying like family business. So I'm genuinely curious. Oh, it's a family business. This is all helpful information, right? Tyler in this scenario, Joe Schmo in this scenario, he cares about this business. It's family run. You just learned a little bit about it. His dad started it. He's taken it over. We already have a better understanding, and we can show some empathy to that.
Sure.
We can dig a little bit more because we are showing that we are interested in the business.
Yeah, it goes from being a plumbing business that you probably cold outreach to or you found on a job website or whatever, something that means absolutely nothing to you, to a family-run business with a guy who probably has worked pretty hard to maintain his legacy, his father's legacy. And you, in your sales pitch then later, you can say, look, I know how much this business means to you. As a family man myself, blank, 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 expand on it from there. But that becomes a part of how you communicate with that customer.
It helps build rapport. It helps build a connection. You might still not win the business. It might still not make sense for you to do that. But you've just gone through the process of understanding their business, why it's important to them, what's important to them. And then if you do walk away, they can feel good that they had that interaction with you. They're more likely if somebody comes to them and says, hey, do you know anybody who does this? When you've just told them, hey, my services aren't going to do what you need. Here's what my services are for. Hey, if you know anyone who's looking for those services, I'd love for you to just mention my name. Right? Yep. Now it's easier for somebody to refer business to you.
100%.
Because you've built some trust, you've built some rapport, you've shown some empathy, and that you're not just going to go after whatever business comes your way. You've demonstrated that you have some value as well, and so you're using that.
What are some of your favorite ways to get away from the pricing question? Because getting around it is one of the it's a hard thing to do. You naturally want to answer. So give me 5 replies that you can use instead of. Or
I'll give you a couple, yeah. So I run into this too, right? Anyone in sales runs. Everybody, look, your customers should be asking you
sure.
for a discount or whatever, right? They're not doing their job if they're not like going, hey, is this a reasonable price? What is it worth? It doesn't mean that you have to lower your price. In fact, oftentimes it's better if you don't. Right? So I'm boring Tyler over here, but no, for those listening, he just yawned. But
late night. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So some things that I would say, like when that person emailed you and said, what's your price? And give me a case study. Simple answer is, hey, I don't even know if I can help you. So let's not talk about price until we know if this is going to be a fit. And then from there, I can give you a price based on a service that's going to do something for you, rather than just throw out random pricing. It's not unreasonable. I would even ask, would it be unreasonable for us to have a brief conversation before I give you a price so I can make sure that this is the right fit?
It sounds aggressive. It sounds dodgy in some cases. But it really is the way to go forward. And the first couple times you say it, just like the first time you tell a customer no, is going to be feel weird. It's not going to be comfortable.
Well, one thing too that you have to realize is there are customers who are going out to just get pricing from competitors to keep their pricing from what we would call the incumbent, the person they're already working with, to keep their costs in line. Because it's a lot easier to keep business going with somebody than it is to win new business. So a lot of times you might just be being used as leverage with another customer. If all they care about is what do you cost, then it's probably not somebody you want to work with. It's probably not somebody that wants to work with you, to be quite frank.
And if they're not willing to have a conversation with you, then yeah, it's not a business that you're going to win, 9 times out of 10 anyway. Like, you just don't have a shot there. So
it's going to be an uphill battle, and it's going to distract you from working with opportunities that could really come to fruition. You're going to probably lose more than you win, but so you want to lose quick so you can get to the ones where you're the best fit. It's really hard and it's really scary, especially early on, to tell somebody no.
Sure.
The other thing I want to say too is for people who are like, oh, I need to respond right away. I need to give them what they want, what they're asking for. How do you want that relationship to go? Let's say you did send that pricing and he came back and said, all right, let's move forward. You don't know anything about each other. Are they just going to tell you what to do?
Right.
And not respect your expertise in that area? You're at risk of that.
100%.
So you haven't even set boundaries or expectations, just a price. And it's probably not going to be the best engagement for either of you. This is where your reputation can take a hit. And it's not because you don't know what you're doing or you do poor work.
Or your product's not any good. It's because you didn't go through the due diligence. You didn't go through what a lot of us refer to as discovery. And so I just really want to impress upon you that taking that extra step, that's a little bit scary, and pushing back just a little bit and saying like, hey, happy to give you a price. However, I need to know a little bit more about your business and what you're trying to accomplish before I can even tell you if I can help you. It's not unreasonable. And so the last thing, we don't even give prices on phones anymore. Like per Pete's recommendations, I stopped even. I get this person on the phone. That cold outreach goes. I avoid the pricing question. I get them on the phone. I'm talking to them. I'm learning about their business. I'm discovering. I'm doing the mirroring, labeling, whatever tactics I'm choosing to find more about their business. They ask again. And now tell me about your proposal system and why you do that.
So when you say they ask again, they're saying, all right, now that you know a little bit more about what we're doing, what's your price now? So I think what you want to do is now you know, here's a little bit about the business. Here's the business problem we're trying to solve. Now you can go back and look at your services, and you've probably talked about your services a little bit, and that, okay, I feel confident that I can help you out. You just say, hey, look, I'm going to write you up a proposal, and I'm gonna write it down and send it to you. And in that, we'll probably have a whole episode on this, but you just give a little summary. Here's what we talked about. Here's the services I can provide, and here's the timeline and the pricing. You can send that in an email, you could write up a form, whatever it might be. But now you're starting the relationship off with, here are the expectations, here are my understandings and the expectations and what that's going to cost you. And then now you have a document, a single source of truth, if you will, of here's what, and they can come back and say, oh, wait a second, I think you misunderstood something. And you can go back. But if you just throw out a price over the phone, that's all they have to work with. If you put some things in writing, you summarize what you've talked about, you demonstrate that you understand the problem and that you can address the problem, then you give a price. Now you've got something you can both work off of. Right. You're on the same page. It doesn't take that long, and it can save you headaches down the road. Yeah.
So, I did one yesterday that took me 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. I got it off the call, had another one scheduled right after that with an existing client, and then got off that call, took 10 minutes before I got up from my computer, sat down, wrote out this proposal, sent it over to him. I haven't heard back. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that we went through the steps.
To be fair, it's Saturday.
Sure.
When we're recording this.
It is Saturday. But, even if I don't hear back from that customer, even if I don't get that sale, the steps that have been taken will help me in future sales.
Well, and we'll talk about the follow-up on another episode too. Sure. But you also set yourself apart from anyone else who's just going to throw prices at that guy and who's not going to dig in and understand the business. He's going to look back and go like, well, this guy, Tyler, he took some time to understand what I'm trying to accomplish, a little bit more about my business. I know that because he's written it down right here and sent it to me, and his proposal is directly addressing my problem. Yep. So maybe that's a good place to close here. I think that's
a good place to wrap it up.
But just to summarize, understand more about your customer. Do the thing that's probably a little bit scary, and push back. You don't need to be a jerk about it or anything. Just say, hey, I need to understand a little bit more.
Avoid the price question.
Yeah. And, we can get to pricing if it makes sense for us to work together. Otherwise you're providing them pricing for something that's not gonna work. So don't just leap to respond with a price.
Sure.
Understand the business, understand the problem, and understand if you can address it.
Easy.
Yeah. Cool.
Easier said than done, but once you get comfortable with it, it is a lot easier, and it'll help you in your sales.
Yeah.
It'll better clients.
Yeah. So, thanks for sticking with us this long. We're going to start taking some questions from the audience. So if you head to theclosersplaybook.com, you'll find episodes and a place that you can reach out to us with any questions that you have, and maybe we'll answer them on an upcoming episode. Thanks so much.
Yep. Just make sure to subscribe, follow us on your podcasting service, whatever that is. Check us out on YouTube, and we will see you in the next episode.
Thanks.